Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Written by the great Ray Parker Jr. Ray, thank you so much.
I don't know about all that great stuff. It was definitely a good day.
It was a good day indeed. The song still plays in perpetuity to this day and is well loved by all. And man, it's just such a funky part. So now somebody said to me that about that song, they said, there's so many great hooks in that song. There's more hooks in the slaughterhouse. And so it is in fact true. It is funky. It's got, as you said, very guitar driven.
Just what you're saying, the biggest compliment just about that I ever got. Elmer Bernstein felt the same way.
Yeah.
And he did the score to the film, right?
Yeah.
He's done 10 Commandments. I mean, he was before I was born. And he said that Ghostbusters single that Ray wrote has hooks everywhere.
Yeah.
He said you can hum this part, you don't know what it is, you can hum that part.
Yeah.
He says it's just laced with hooks.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like sort of the beauty of it is like, it's diatonic. You can sing everything about it. And the best guitar parts always have that as like a signature piece. And man, I'm just so grateful to be here with you and get to talk about your career. We're going to take everybody through memory lane from Bill Withers to Herbie Hancock to Chaka Khan and beyond. So I'm so excited to dive into your career. And man, I'm just, if you can't tell, I'm just excited. I'm just raging here. So about Ghostbusters, because I think this is your work. This is a song that you played sessions on, like some of the other stuff we're going to go into. How did you get the call? How did this song come about?
Well, I used to play all the records for Barry White. And there was a guy, Gary LaMelle, who worked there in the publishing division. So he was publishing the songs, some of the ones that I wrote. And so we became friends there. Well, later years, I had some hit records. He became the vice president of Columbia Pictures, running the music division, And he said that he tried everything. They spent a year trying to find somebody to write that song. And he just called me up and said, you're the guy to do it. He says, your timbre, your brain, your temper, how you think. But I'm sitting there like, what's he talking about? I'm the guy to do it. I don't know nothing about this stuff. And by the way, I'm afraid of ghosts. So I'm not the guy that's going to do anything to a ghost. But he thought that I was the guy to do it so much that at the meeting, he said, there'll be 20 songwriters at the meeting, but we're going to pay you $50,000 to just write a song. Whether we use it or not, you get to keep the money. He says, I want you to stay here 3 more days and, do this. And I'm like, wow, he must really have some confidence to be doing that. Well, guess what? He turned out to be right.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
And he turned out to be right. I was the right guy to write that song.
Yeah.
He thought it ahead of time, and he was right.
Yeah, and of course you get points on that in perpetuity, right? Not just the $50,000.
Yeah.
So that's that song turned out to be very fortuitous.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The best part of the song to me is I have 4 sons, and at each age when they were 7, 8, to 10, I was their hero.
Yeah.
And that's priceless. You can't buy that.
Yeah, man.
Only son's personal hero. I mean, not anymore. But at that time, I was my son's hero.
Yeah, yeah. So on that song, what was the gear that you used to kind of get that sound? I
had a Yamaha guitar that they only made 2 of them. And they're making it for me. I don't know what happened. We were going to have a series of guitars. But a lot of people don't know it, but that's the guitar that's on The Other Woman, and that's the guitar that's on Ghostbusters.
Really?
Yeah.
And then what about the amp?
Sound. The amp rig, I just had a Princeton reverb amp, a small amp.
Was it like of the generation? Was it from the 80s? Was it a vintage one?
I'm saying it's from the 70s.
From the 70s, so silver face one.
Oh yeah, silver face.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was
pretty sure I had a Ibanez 808 2 screamer.
Yep. Yeah. It was a prerequisite. Everybody had to have it. And
didn't spend a lot of time, by the way. It was like, okay, Mike, we got to go. Everything was in a hurry.
Yeah.
So I used the synthesizer that was sitting in front of me. Everything that was sitting in front of me got used for the song. It wasn't like a conscious decision. We need that sound and that patch. It was just like, man, pull something up. Like I had a Jupiter 6. The first patch that came up with a bass on it, that's the bass of the song. Yeah. There's some bass. Okay, let's go. We got to go.
Right, $50,000 is on the line.
Yeah, right. We got to go. Put it down.
How short of a time span did you from the day that you decided, like, okay, I'm going to start writing this till?
Let's say it's about 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I only had about 3 days.
Okay. Yeah, so it was really quick.
Yeah, oh yeah, real quick.
Wow. That is so incredible. And in terms of like personnel on it, obviously were there any other people involved in sort of the production?
Yeah. Once I was pretty much done with it, I got Martin Page and Brian Fairweather to help me, and Dorothy Ash, we played the harp. And so I let some other people done, but I wasn't even there when they overdubbed. I was so sleepy, I had to go home and go to sleep. I just said, y'all put something on it.
It was the 3 continuous days.
Yeah, pretty much continued. So I just told them, hey, could y'all put something on it? And they went,
wow,
did their thing.
Wow, that is incredible.
There was nothing we could do wrong to the song. It was just on its way there.
Yeah.
Period,
And were the guitar parts that you came up with, it was just kind of like first ideas?
The very first, everything was a first idea. The words were a first idea.
Yeah.
I didn't get to work on that. That just was blurted out of my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
It was so non-practical, non-everything. It makes me wonder, well, why don't I just do all my music in a hurry?
Right.
What am I working so hard?
Right. Right.
Because it's funny when you don't have the time. And it's not like I did it in a hurry because for any other reason except they were rushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were rushing me. Like, let's get go. We got to get going. Okay, well, give me the first day. Let's go.
Yeah. Well,
down. With no idea, by the way, that it was going to be a hit.
Yeah.
Just putting it down, just getting it together.
Well, it must have felt amazing when it did hit because, man, I mean, that movie is huge and produced sequels and man, yeah, that's a definitely a life-changing moment.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I love Ghostbusters. I love that song. I'm so grateful to you for coming up with it because, man, it's just such a cool song. I want to go into some of your work as a session guitar player, however. Most people know about the Ghostbusters thing, I would presume by this, but there's also a great documentary that it recently released with you about it.
Yeah.
But I want to go through your session career in those days in Detroit and beyond, and maybe go through some of the different parts that you came up with that are really iconic that I think many of us would recognize. One of which that I'd like to talk to you about is Bill Withers and working with him on the song "Lovely Day."
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you remember about that song, that session?
Oh, that's easy. Yeah, I always wanted to work with Bill Withers, first of all. And luckily for me, turned out to be one of my best friends later in life. But I remember going in there hearing the songs, and I liked the song "Lovely Day" when he was first doing it. I was wondering, like everybody else, I wonder, is this going to be one of those big Bill Withers hits like I get to play on? Yes, I miss, Lean on Me.
Yeah.
And it, sure enough, it was another one.
Yeah.
It was another one. But I remember we did it. Clarence McDonald was the arranger, producer who put it all together. My buddy that played with me in radio, Jerry Knight, playing the bass. And so, we had a little team going in there. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah. And do you remember where that was recorded?
Yeah, for some reason, we were at Bill's house. Okay. We may have cut the track at Bill's house. I can't remember.
Was that in L.A. or was that
in Beverly Hills?
In Beverly Hills. And do you remember like how much of that song was developed by the time you got to it? Did he pretty much have
it? Was all developed.
It was all there?
Yeah, he had the lyrics and the chords and stuff.
And did he tell you
he didn't know how he wanted it to feel.
Right.
That was up to us to come up.
Okay, so you had like a chord outline, but you had to kind of So that like that intro part, were you the one that picked to put the phaser on it, or did he tell you to put it on there?
Oh, I put the phaser.
It was at an MXR Phase 90, or was that like a neutral?
Yeah, MXR Phase 90, I think.
Yeah. That's amazing. And what kind of guitar was it at that time?
Gibson 335.
Okay, the red one? Yeah.
Very red one.
Yeah, and that was looked like it was probably like a mid-60s, or was it?
It's some late 60s.
Late 60s.
I would say, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And do you remember
the part, but
yeah, show us what you did. We will get right back to the interview with Ray, but before we continue, I want to talk about one of the sponsors of the show, which is our good friends over at Heritage Guitars. And if you don't know, the 335 you've been using these days is the Heritage.
It's the red Heritage 335. And I did a video for Leo Nascentelli, and he turned me on to the Heritage guitars.
Yep.
I love those guitars. They're wonderful.
And they're built in Michigan, where you're
How about that?
Yeah, and in the original Gibson factory.
That's what I heard.
With original Gibson employees. Yeah. And man, I own one myself. I love the guitars. They are absolutely wonderful. And if you're looking for that kind of classic hollow body, that classic semi-hollow body, that classic solid body with a single cutaway that's reminiscent of some of those great sounds that you heard in the 50s, in the 60s, you may want to consider checking out Heritage Guitars. Head over to their website. They offer custom shop versions as well as standardized versions that you can get from some of the great retailers that are here in the United States and abroad. So do check out Heritage Guitars. Now back to the interview.
What's unique is people always play a bunch of chords, but it's really just a pluck part, and it goes on an upbeat like 1, 2, 3, 4. Just a little thing like that.
Yeah.
But it fits when it's in the track. It makes the track ride.
Right, and that movement of the phaser kind of makes it just like flow out there and the whole thing. And does that just stay that part just stays throughout the?
Pretty much stays that, except for the bridge. Just a couple of chords, play that, and go right back to that line.
Yeah,
chords in the bridge ain't really worth anything. They're just there.
Yeah.
It's mainly that line.
And when you kind of came up with that part, was Bill like, "That's it," you know?
Oh yeah. They were all like, "That's it. You can stick with that."
Yeah. And was that just kind of like the first idea that you kind of pitched?
Yeah. But that's what I heard.
Yeah. Man, it's so iconic. And were other musicians there playing like parts? Was like live in the room, or were you like it was?
No, we were live. We cut it live.
Okay. And was that
by the way, all the old stuff is all cut live.
It's all cut live. No drum.
We never heard of that overdub and stuff too. Like, the late 80s
and no click track.
No, it wasn't no click track.
Was that Russ Kunkel or was that James Gadsden on that?
Russ Kunkel.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need a click track.
Yes, right. You play the brick when you need a click.
Yeah, man, that's such a great part, man. I absolutely love it. And was that also likely a Princeton, you think, for the amplifier?
Oh yeah. That's how I took around to all the studios.
Yeah,
Very White stuff was a Princeton, all that stuff.
Totally stock, just that set off Princeton
reverb.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's it's incredible. It's funny. We interviewed Dean Parks in a similar way. He's like, yeah, everything's Princeton.
Yeah.
Like everybody thinks they need to be like these huge things. Everybody got
a stack of 5 Princeton.
Yeah.
Across.
Yeah. Wow. Man, and all in mono too.
And it wasn't the nice Princeton I got in there. That was louder and big, but it was like the little.
It was the 10-inch speaker, so it's not the sexy. And everything in mono for those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The guitar, they didn't have tracks, 2 tracks for the guitar.
Yeah.
And remember, there's no Pro Tools, so you got tape.
Right.
And if you got 16 tracks or 24 tracks, you can't have 2 tracks for one guitar.
Do you have a position on stereo guitar just for all those young aspiring guitar players?
Yeah, I really don't care. I just like the mono guitar.
Right.
That's what I always.
So all your biggest hits, also
all of them. Even on stage, I play with just a mono amp.
As you heard it here. It doesn't. You don't get
one on each side of the stage, but I don't know.
Well, you don't get any more big time than Ray Parker Jr.
Some of the effects now, I like in stereo.
Yeah.
The pedal effects and stuff to bring, that's nice if you're recording.
Yeah.
But I don't know, in concert, maybe I might use that pedal effect or something, but most of the time it's just guitar mono.
But you're also at the behest of the sound man and what they decide to do.
That's what got at their mercy.
Yeah. Well, I want to move on to another great song, which is your work with Barry White. Now, Barry White, you've played on almost all the big stuff, and he has a very select group of guitar players that really have even worked on this song. I think it's you, Dean Parks, and like Wah Wah Watson, maybe.
Yeah.
And
David T. Walker.
And so you have a very small group. So to be in that, you're already in rarefied air.
Yeah, Lee Ritenour.
Oh, Lee Ritenour as well. Yeah, and a lot of those sessions too, didn't they have like multiple guitar players on the same session?
Yeah. Oh, we had 5 guitar players. That's what I'm naming them for. We had Jay Graydon, Dean Parks, myself, Wah Wah, and David T.
Well, you got an all-star cast of guitar players.
Oh, yeah. All you had to remember was your part.
Really? Yeah, man. And how did you first get introduced to Barry?
Through Gene Page.
Okay.
Yeah, Gene Page took me to a Barry White session, and he was playing some song, and I pushed stop on the thing.
Yeah.
He had the full blast. So he's like, what the what's going on? Here's this little kid from Detroit with the afro, talking about, Mr. White, it's a nice song, but I think you need this part. And he paused, sort of looking like, who the heck is that, right? Then he told me, get in there and play it. And so I got in and started playing it, and he liked it. And I was like, okay, roll it back to the top. I'll play it all the way down. He said, just keep going. And on the actual record, there's a bar with no guitar in it.
Really?
Yeah, where I stopped playing.
And how old do you think you were when you got that first session?
Oh, I was 18.
18, and how old do you think Barry White was at that, in his 30s?
Yeah. He's about 13 or 14 years older than me, yeah.
And was that, where was that, what studio was that?
Whitney Studios.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And then I guess after that, he's like, we got to have Ray on.
Exactly, yeah. Ray was on all the stuff.
And same thing, Princeton, ES 335.
Yep.
Man. And probably on that stuff, no real effects, just guitar. And
yeah, I didn't have no effects. Yeah, I think Jay, every night, you know what, on Barry White stuff, most of us didn't have no effects. Wah Wah had the Echoplex and the guitar. That's pretty.
Not even the Wah Wah.
Yeah. he had the wah and the guitar, but that was that's pretty much all it was for the effects. Barry White liked clean guitars.
We will get right back to the interview with Ray in just a moment, but I wanted to thank one of our sponsors over at Sweetwater and their great program, the Gear Exchange. It's a way that you can buy and sell your used gear and equipment and not have to incur the standard selling fees that you would with most of the other platforms out there. In fact, if you sell something on the Gear Exchange and you decide to put your earnings on a Sweetwater gift card, you get to keep 100% of your earnings. You don't have to pay any fees whatsoever. If you're somebody like me that's always buying things over on Sweetwater, you're going to be able to capture all that extra money and be able to apply it toward things that you'd be buying anyway. So do check them out at sweetwater.com/used and sign up for the Gear Exchange. You can set up an account for free and get buying and get selling. Now back to the interview. Can we play a couple of those Barry White songs, or have you play some of
I could play the part that I remember the best, that I liked it. My darling, so it's that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Man, it's such a great part. And like, were those chords already established at that point, or
yeah, the chords were established. But I mean, when I heard the record, he turned up my rhythm, so nice.
Right. But they probably don't tell you the voicings that they were on.
No, that's all me.
Yeah.
The voicing and how I'm going to play it.
And how you're kind of sliding up into them. I mean, that's like a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to a lot of session musicians. I'm curious about like your take on it. I mean, I feel like you guys are such uncredited arrangers, right? Because you're just getting a skeleton, and it's like you're so up. It's so up to your interpretation.
Yeah.
Those hooks often just end up making the song what it is, and it's not like that was written out in sheet music for you to say, okay, here's the melody line that you're doing. It's like
and if you think that's bad and the musicians get screwed, the guy who actually writes it down, the arranger, gets more screwed.
Really?
Because he gets all his ideas and everything put on there, and he gets no royalties either.
Yeah. Man.
So that's really rough. I mean, you come up with a guitar part, you say, boy, that guitar part really made the song. Don't matter. You don't have none of the song.
Is this part of the reason why you moved into your solo?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had ideas for songs, and I wanted to get my music out.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. What about the other Barry White song that is huge that you played on my first, my last, my everything?
Yeah, I can't remember how to play it. But that was a great. We did that. Love, Steam, and You Can't Get Enough. You Love all the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how old do you think you were when those sessions all?
Oh, I know how old I was. I was like 19.
So it was like this, like basically a year after.
Yeah. After we got started.
So just I Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Baby. That was like 18,
or may have been 8. Maybe all of it. No, all of it may have been 18. We cut all the same day.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm just thinking it was right at the border, but it could have been all 18. 19.
In all cut live,
for sure. All cut live.
And Barry singing live too?
No. He'd overdubbed his voice.
And would he be there in the studio? Like,
yeah, he's playing the piano.
Okay. And he's a pretty good musician in his own right.
Playing the piano on all his records.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
He's playing well enough to make it work.
And how involved was he in the arrangements, or did he have people kind of helping him?
Yeah, Gene Page do the arrangements.
Okay.
Yeah. Gene Page did all that orchestra and all the stuff that you hear from Barry White.
Wow. They're so timeless, it's everything about it, it's like, definitely a masterpiece. It's like, having up a...
I worked with a lot of people in the studio, but Barry White was one of the most fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many...
all remember that.
How many more sessions did you end up doing with him over time? Like,
I have no idea, but a ton of records. Yeah, I did a lot with him.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there was an all-star cast every time on guitars. Oh, man, that's incredible. I want to move on to another great artist that you work with, Chaka Khan.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, most guitar players are aware of, your amazing guitar part that you come up with.
And that's a guitar part that sort of has a lead line in the record. Like when you hear the guitar part, you know the record.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you got the love. Like, how did that come about? How did you meet Chaka? How did you get the call for the session?
Well, I didn't get the call for the session. I wrote the song first.
Okay.
And I had the song, and I wanted Stevie Wonder to cut it. He wasn't hearing it. And I wanted Barry White to cut it. He wasn't hearing it. None of them were paying me any attention. And so Andre Fisher lived next door to me. He says, on that song, he says, well, we'll cut it on my group Rufus. I'm like, what's that? What's a Rufus? I didn't know what it was, Chaka kind of meant nothing to me at the time because I didn't know who she was.
Right.
I never heard her sing.
Right.
And so we went in and put down the track, and I laid a couple of the guitar parts and the bass part and other stuff. We got it going. Track sounded pretty good, but it's like, I don't know, my demo might sound better, but we'd be all right. And then she did the vocal while I was out of town, which just turned out to be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard the vocal, I was like, who's that singing? Oh, that's Chaka. Okay, Chaka Khan. I got that name. Yeah. I'll never forget that name.
Yeah. And
that turned out to be her first hit and my first hit.
Yeah. I didn't realize that you wrote it, so I guess that's an oversight on my piece. So this is your song, and then you brought it to her, and she sang it. And then after that, did you take over sort of the arrangement from there,
I got the track was done, but she got there.
And then you just had...
Oh, she was singing.
Okay.
The guitar part was there.
It was already there. So
I put that down first. She wasn't there when I put the guitar.
And did you do it with your rhythm section of your choice, or did they bring in?
No, I did it with the band Rufus. Okay. But most of it's me playing.
Okay.
I showed the piano player what to play.
Yeah.
And all that kind of
because I've seen you.
I was laughing because he was like, that piano part's too simple. I said, that's it. Yeah. Play it simple.
Because I've seen you play with Freddie Washington before.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's so funky. It's got so much feel.
Yeah.
Can you play a little bit of that part for us?
I thought you never had. It starts off with the high thing. Turn the volume up. It's like it's like it's almost like a chicken kind of picking.
Yeah.
Because you get and you have to use the side of the guitar pick.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's just too much of that.
Right.
Hear that. But to get that.
What kind of pick is this that we're
using? It's a Fender thin, but it's turned sideways.
So it kind of...
Greg Green showed me this. Greg Green showed George Benson this. Greg Green showed Melvin Sparks this, and Melvin Sparks also showed me this. And George Benson showed me this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
So all the masters have taught me that this is how you do it, because you can get that.
Yeah.
It's not clicky. It's just a...
And is this the pick that you would have used back then?
Same pick.
And do you always hold it with that technique, or is it only when you're playing?
I always hold it with that.
So a Fender thin, turn to the side. That's the trick.
That's the trick.
That's my trick. Going wrong.
That's my trick.
So we want to attempt to sound like Ray Parker. You at least need that.
Exactly.
All right. Man, that is such a cool part. That is such a cool. I mean, when you came up with it, was it just like you were kind of just kind of creating a groove and it just turned into something?
I'm just so young then, man. I know I was 18 when I wrote, or 17, so I was just in a tape recorder, just fooling around, man.
Yeah.
Then I probably thought to myself, oh, that sounds pretty good. What the heck that is?
Yeah.
Then I came up with that other part that goes.
Man, and so it lived with you for a while then before.
Oh yeah. The first part was definitely the hot.
Yeah, man, that's such a good song. I love everything about that. Thank you for writing that. Yeah, I apologize that I didn't give you your full due on that. Well, speaking of not getting your full due, you wrote an amazing song that was performed by Leo Sayer.
Yeah,
you make me feel like
that at the same time I wrote "You Got the Love." Telephone Man and Jagged. I mean, I was writing all of those right at the same time.
Okay.
And that was a song I wrote at home. I brought it to the studio. At lunchtime, I told the musicians play it so I could hear what it sounds like, because we wouldn't have, digital stuff where you can record it.
Right.
Stuff. So I wanted to hear my guys playing it, what it sounded like. And the producer, Richard Perry, came in and said, boy, that sounds really good. Can we cut this on Leo now? And I'll give you your part of the song.
Right.
I said, he says, we can't get your lawyer now. We're in the middle of cutting the group.
Right.
I'm working with you. I'll give you a part of the song. Well, guess what? I believed him. I mean, I had my name on the concrete outside the studio.
Yeah.
We worked together so much.
Yeah.
But he did not give me my part of the song.
Man.
And I was like devastated. And then it won, just to, put salt into the wound, it won Record of the Year. It won the Grammy of the Year.
Yeah.
And my mom's in Detroit broke, and some guy was on TV thanking his mom. Was like, I don't even know who you are. You were in the studio when we cut the record.
Yeah.
So that's pretty But I can play that for you too.
Yeah, let's hear You Make Me Feel Like Dancing.
Again, you really got to turn this sideways for that.
Okay.
So it had that feel.
Yeah.
That pluck feel.
And then you got that chord, like that was your just those chord voicings where you're kind of like sliding up into it. That was 335, I presume.
I can't even remember what you're talking about. I just remember the low part.
Yeah.
There are some other parts. I don't remember those.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a 335 to me when I hear that intro. I mean, presumably that seems like that's where most of this stuff was. And man, yeah, it's such a bummer. I mean, I'm sure that's partially what pushed you into like wanting to just go and do your.
The bad part about it was it won the Grammy, did all the rest of the stuff, and I got nothing. But it also made me like a basketball player who just won the series and don't have a deal either.
Right.
So I didn't have a deal. So Clive Davis was like, "Get me that kid who wrote that song and that song and that song." Who's he recorded for?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
I'm sitting at home, he doesn't have a record deal. So that my first record deal was a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Man.
Because all the bad stuff that happened turned into the good stuff.
Yeah. Now, I think I remember you saying in another interview that you did that Leo was not responsible for that. He actually hired you and use your songs to.
Leo's a nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was just kind of the behind the scenes.
Yeah. Screw Ray. Yeah.
Man, that's over. That's awful. It's just, yeah. But I mean, unfortunately, it's a really common thing that was happening to tons of people at the time, Yeah,
there's one TV show In Concert where I played the beginning of the TV show. You just hear my guitar and they name a song. That song, we cut it on the Persuasions, which was a vocal group only. They were trying to cut it with a track. And anyway, the producer, once he heard that, he erased all of the lead vocals. He erased the rest of the band and just kept my guitar. They didn't remake it.
Just transplanted it, yeah.
Transplanted, and that became I'll play it for you. Became this thing. Dean Parks always teases me with this. That became the TV show. Then he overdub strings in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Then Ray getting screwed again.
Man, well, I mean, and plenty of us guitar players have ripped off your licks, but that is considerably worse. Man, well, I'm sorry that happened to you, but I'm glad at how it turned out because we've got such a rich history of music as a consequence of the work that you've done. I want to talk about another great artist that you work with, the great Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
And you have had worked with him, back in Motown in Detroit. And then as his career progressed and years progressed, you continued and you were the guitarist or one of the guitarists on the great song, I Want You.
Yeah, the I Want You album. I played guitar on Distant Lover, the Oakland Live Coliseum album.
That was you?
Yeah, that was me. You're the Man,
My Hometown, Step in Detroit.
All that stuff was me. Marvin Gaye is very influential.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's the one that gave my number to Stevie Wonder.
Really?
Said call Ray, because he was very influential on Stevie Wonder.
What was a Marvin Gaye session like?
Oh, Marvin Gaye was always the coolest.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd just take his time, smoke a little weed, just let it happen. He was never in a big rush. And, he just, he might sit and talk for 10, 15 minutes, then he just hit a little bit on the piano.
Yeah.
And everybody would follow him. He'd talk to you in the headphones.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
And a great pianist, I presume?
Really a great pianist.
Okay.
Enough to get his chords that he was doing. Yeah.
I mean, I've watched rehearsals of that song in particular, I Want You. And there's one where he's just like laying down on a couch and he's just like singing his butt off. And he's getting these like huge sort of like vocal distortions, which take a ton of power and support. And he's just like laying down on a couch and just like, sorry, like, how is he doing this? Like, that's like a 1 in a million. Gosh,
and that album in particular, outside of any album, was interesting. Really, it's not a Marvin Gaye album; it's a Leon Ware album. So we cut that whole album for Leon Ware. Leon Ware sang it, rapped it. It was done in the can. Then all of a sudden, somebody got the idea: let's keep all the musicians and everything, and take Leon off and put Marvin Gaye on, and that's how that album came about.
Interesting. I had no idea.
When I hear it, it sounds like Marvin was in the studio with us and everything was perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how much he put himself into it. But he wasn't even there.
Really?
He never even heard the music we cut when we were cutting it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So like they just took Leon off and put Marvin on.
Do you remember any of the parts that you played on those songs?
No, not really. But I remember the groove when
yeah,
kind of a thing.
Yeah. And was that just the same sort of thing? They had kind of like rough chords, and then you just got
yeah. I just remember coming up with that groove, so I know that feel. Can't remember the rest of the song.
Do you
that feels?
Do you remember any other guitar players in the room at that particular time, or was it just
While I was in the room and David T. Walker.
Yeah. Man, again, just another heavy hitting.
Yeah, I can hear. For me, I could hear some of the guys on the record and hear. I can know who is on it. Just listening to it.
Yeah, you definitely know Wall because he's doing kind of like the Wall one. He's like
with Echoplex. Yeah. I got him his first Echo.
Oh yeah,
back in Detroit.
Do you remember if it was an EP1, an EP2, or an EP3? I know this is a really geeky gear question.
Got me. I don't know what the EP is, but it was
EP is Echoplex, so it's Echoplex version 1.
Yeah, I'm
some more solid state, and then some had tubes.
Yeah, well, his first one was all silver.
Okay,
so I'm gonna say it probably had the tubes in it.
Was it in the
tape? Yes, it put the tape. Yeah, it'd be like late 60s.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's definitely one of the tube ones. Yeah, well, the Echoplex, even not even using the Echo, it makes
My dad bought me one, and we were like, wow, isn't that deep? It plays a thing behind it. We thought that was like modern technology.
It was.
Well, now you get in the box and just they dial me some reverb. Digital delay. But at that time, nobody heard digital delay. It's really new. It's like, man, it's playing the guitar. And by the way, we like the saturation sound.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly playing the same thing.
Yeah, the preamp.
It's for all most of this digital stuff. People say, oh, we got it in there. He says, that ain't it. It sounds the same each time. It's supposed to get worse each time.
Yeah.
It turned into that, going like that.
Well, some of the pedals that recreate it have like a setting now on them where you can adjust the age of the tape.
Yeah.
Where you can say, I want it to be, more worn out. And,
It's supposed to hit the original thing and then gets messed up as it goes down here. Go away. That's what the tape saturation did for you.
I want to talk about another great song you played on, Massive Hit by the great Cheryl Lynn. And also involved David Page from Jojo, a friend of yours.
Yeah.
And the song is Got to Be Real.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that session? Can you tell me about how that came together?
That was an interesting session because David Page, who's like Toto, rock and roll, that guy, getting ready to do Cheryl Lynn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Cheryl Lynn's black. I think, and this is the way David told me one day. I didn't know 2 years later. He said his dad called him up and said, why don't you call your buddy Ray and let him put together his friends and other stuff, which he did. And so I got my bass player from my high school. We had Gatson playing the drums, and I got my guys to do it. And that way he could cut an R&B record.
Yeah, because David's dad was a musician too, right? Mm-hmm. David's dad was a musician too.
Yeah. His dad was famous musician. Yeah. So his dad did a bunch of TV shows and a bunch of other stuff, and David was up and coming and being the great producer. And his dad just suggested to him, hey man, call Ray and let him help you with the rhythm section. Okay. And we cut that song, man, that thing went quick.
Yeah.
It really did. Yeah. It's not a lot of takes in the studio. The sound was great. It's like Ghostbusters. The sound was great. Everything we played was great. And we all looked at each other after the second take and went, that's it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing else I can do. We got it, And everybody was like that.
Yeah. And did you have like chorus or something on your guitar? It almost sounds like when
I think a little bit of it, but that song has that, what was it? Something like that. Okay. I forgot what it is. Then the other part is rememberable. So we had a lot of things.
Yeah, there's tons of hooks in that one too. Also,
Yeah, sticking
more hooks in the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
That
was one I hear it all the time.
Yeah,
it's like a song that never dies.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic song. The rhythm section.
No,
can't get any better than that. And as far as like the development of the song, how things came together, you said super fast. The animation is playing the piano. That's it.
Yeah.
And was it the same thing? 335 Princeton set up for that, or was?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And back. Oh, yeah. That's the 335. I hadn't got stolen yet.
Okay, got stolen.
It got stolen like a year later. Yeah.
Really?
Since I was a kid, and I moved to a house in Studio City, supposed to be a nice neighborhood. They stole all my everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. And never any sign of it subsequently? Okay, so if anybody out there knows about this 335, get in touch.
The acoustic guitar Bill Withers gave me, I lost that. And it was another acoustic guitar Stevie Wonder gave me, lost that.
Man, well, I mean,
come in your house and steal.
Yeah, man. Yep, man. Yeah, because that was the hit maker, man. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. And they took your Princeton too?
No. The Princeton was at a carriage company.
Okay.
So it was safe.
Yeah.
In fact, that same Princeton, the exact same one I used on that stuff, I actually have that in the house.
You still have it?
I have it.
Oh, man. Well, maybe if we play our cards right, we could just see what it looks like, I
don't know where it's at.
No, it's got somewhere in the house.
It may just be right in there.
All right. Well, we'll take.
See it. I see it all the time. I know I got it somewhere.
So I mean, that's a bummer. Well, I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
But man, what a great song. We will get right back to the interview with Ray in just a moment, but I wanted to thank one of our sponsors who makes this show possible, our friends over at Mono Creators. Now, I use all of their gig bags and pedalboard cases for a lot of my own gear. They're incredibly reliable, incredibly safe. I can even check them if I have to, and I know that the gear is going to arrive on the other side unscathed. Go check out our friends over at Mono. They make great stuff, great cases, great pedalboards and accessories, and I can't recommend them highly enough. Now back to the interview. I also wanted to talk to you about your work with the great Herbie Hancock.
Yeah.
Now, it's got another signature Ray Parker Jr. like funk guitar where it just starts off the song straight off on doing it.
Some kind of thing like
yeah.
Herbie, Herbie, I don't know if you ever noticed, but every time he plays a concert, he likes to experiment with different players, different sounds, and everybody has different grooves. And so I'll never forget meeting Herbie. I thought we were going to play some jazz. I was like ready to go do all that kind of stuff. And he says, whoa, what are you doing? I said, Herbie Hancock, he says, I got plenty of people to play that. I called you to play the groove. I got to hear that stuff.
Yeah.
So he wanted to hear it. Yeah, he wanted to hear that stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. My jazz career turned out to be funky.
Yeah. I mean, but those are
the other people like Stanley Turrentine, Freddie Hubbard, Dizzy Gillespie. They would all call me to play the same thing too.
Yeah.
That's just boy. I thought the only way I get to ever play with those guys is to be playing jazz.
Right.
So you never know.
Wait, was that also the 335?
Mm-hmm. A lot of it was, yeah.
Those funk parts were all.
Oh yeah,
man. And do you remember like was that a pretty drawn out session? Was it just like they just brought you in the studio and they said just
we're just fooling around.
Okay, so it was kind of like a jam that
all the jam songs and materialized. Yeah, we're just playing it.
Wow,
coming up with some new ideas.
Wow. Yeah. And so was that just like a day or two, just real? Like,
yeah. We cut a bunch of stuff those same days. Some people did sessions like Herbie were more experimental. Then the other one was like Barry White with the direct opposite. Here's the song, we come in, let's get it done in 20 minutes. Let's whack it out. So some people wanted to cut it in a hurry, or some people would just get in the studio and kind of feel it out.
Yeah, well,
either way is right. There's no real wrong way to do it. Just however you want to do it.
Although for you, as you said, when you're on the clock, you do your best work.
Yeah, like it, yeah. I'm like that kid in school that does his homework on Sunday night. Had all weekend to do it. Can't seem to get it.
Well, if it's done, it's done, right?
Yeah. There's something about stress that makes the best come out of you a little bit.
Yeah, well, they say the best tomatoes are the ones that are amused.
Yeah, right.
One last song, right? And thank you for indulging me as I've asked you about 10 plus songs. I want to ask you about your work with Boz Scaggs on the album Middleman. And he has some great guitar players on. He's got you and Steve Lukather.
Yeah.
You guys have worked together a lot.
Oh, a lot. We've done a lot
over your career. And was David Foster somehow involved in that record as well?
Yeah. I think he wrote some of the songs with Boz.
Yeah. So
David's on a lot of the sessions.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great pianist.
People don't know that they've seen him as the super producer.
Yeah,
with all the Grammys and stuff. But I tell everybody, I said, no, don't underrate him. He could play this.
Yeah. He's got a pitch too.
You've ever met before.
Yeah, he had that show for a while where he the Hitman or something like that.
Yeah,
and he would basically be like MDing like in real time from the piano. And
he can really do it. But the song you're thinking of, I can't remember all of it, but I know when.
Yeah, that was Jojo.
Yeah.
That's a great song. Yeah, and I think that's one of them that was David Foster was involved in.
Yeah,
sure, because he's definitely playing the piano on that one. He's got his sensibility.
Yeah, it was that.
Yeah, man, and Steve Lukather's also on that song. I guess you'd be playing like kind of that single.
Down.
Okay. And you were also on another one on that, which I think was Breakdown Ahead or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember what part you played on that one?
I've done 8 albums with Boz Scaggs. Yeah, I remember the first song. Which part I played on which song? Like, I don't even know.
What's a Boz session like?
A Boz session is more relaxed and let the creativity flow. But Jojo, some of that stuff, him and David Foster, I think they wrote it in the studio.
Okay.
While we were sitting there.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Boz would do some stuff. Sometimes he just write in the studio, like to get the whole band there. So he knows he's got the muscle.
Yep.
All the muscle is there. Then he comes up with whatever idea, then interjects that into the session. And like I said, that's why everybody does something different. Some people work out those things at home and they bring it to the studio. And those who do it at home and bring it into the studio, it usually turns out different in the studio when they get there anyway.
Yeah.
It's like they thought they wanted to hear this, but they really want to hear that.
Right.
So it just changes. Every artist is different. It changes.
Yeah. And well, clearly he liked whatever ideas you guys are coming up with.
Exactly.
Do you remember, were you and Steve, in the same room together?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're in the same room together a lot.
Yeah, and so he's just going and he's playing the single notes, doing the comping, and you're playing the guitar.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's incredible.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
And David would be playing the piano, or that part of the track was already...
No, he'd be playing the piano. Both Davids were there or something.
David Page, too, was there, too. Yeah. Man.
And by the way, we're all really best friends even now.
Yeah.
I'm going to see Lou for the next couple of weeks, and Foster and all those guys. I mean, we spent so much time together that it's like we're almost like relatives or something. I mean, we don't have to see each other every day.
Yeah.
But when I do see him, it's magical. We know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my guys.
Yeah, well, the studio forms a bond, huh?
It really does.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Man, well, Ray, I can't thank you enough for allowing us to come into the studio and talk about all these great songs. I want to do one last thing with you.
He's taking me to lunch, by the way. Getting paid a little bit.
Yeah.
Lobster, here we go.
Yeah. All you can eat. I want to ask you about a few photos that I was able to dig up of things in the past, and I just wanted to get your take, your impression of what was going on there. So without further ado, can I grab my phone from you? Thank you, sir.
This could be embarrassing.
Oh, it's very low stakes. I promise. All right. So the first photo that I like to show you is a picture of you here. You're red.
That's on Sesame Street.
That's on Sesame Street.
No, for sure.
And you got Stevie Wonder up there.
Yeah.
And how old do you think you were in that photo?
Well, I was 18.
18.
Yeah.
So it's on Sesame Street. Do you remember what songs you guys played?
Superstition we played for sure, and You Are the Sunshine of My Life. That's Scott Edwards. He just passed a year ago.
And
you're my hero who taught me how to write songs.
Yeah, so what's he like? What's Stevie Wonder like?
Stevie Wonder is an interesting guy. Of course, he's a little bit crazy because all geniuses are a little bit crazy, you know. But you deal with that. He's actually pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
People are really nice.
And one heck of a musician.
Oh my gosh, he's Beethoven of the 20th century, hands down. No, but I don't think anybody will argue that.
Yeah. What's a rehearsal like for Sesame Street?
We didn't rehearse for that.
Just show up.
Man, we played with Stevie so many times. We knew all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just. He said we wanted to play Sesame Street, and we just went over there.
Yeah.
We wanted need to rehearse for it.
Well, he's got to be pretty discerning to people in his band. I'm sure his bar for musicians is pretty high, and his tolerance for any
bad notes and stuff. That's pretty high too.
Yeah, so that's an awesome photo. Here's another one also with you and Steve.
That's one of the best photos, in my opinion, I got, because that's my 18th birthday cake. And he's giving me the cake there.
Yeah. And did he sing Happy Birthday for you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's bent over. Look how skinny he is. How skinny. Look how much black hair I got.
And he had on that dye.
Really changed. I've shown people that picture. Some people are like, who are those two guys? I'd be like, okay, that says it right there.
So what year would this have been if you were 18?
That would be 1973.
1973. That's a great shot.
Or 72. Maybe it's 72.
Here's actually another one. I don't know if this is also from Sesame Street. It's not as good of a photo, but you can clearly see your red 335.
That's not sad. That's something else. I forgot what that is, but that's something else.
And it had a Bixby on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stevie's in different clothes, too.
Yeah, he is in different
outfit.
Okay. Here's another one from American Music Awards, because that's you and Lionel Richie.
You got to get a copy of all these pictures.
I'll get
that picture either.
Yeah, I'll get.
Who's that? Hold on to him.
I'm not sure who that is, but I recognize Lionel Richie.
Blow her up a little bit. Yeah, that's definitely Lionel. Yeah, I don't know who the girl is.
I'm sure we can find that out.
Yeah, but that's a good picture of me and Lionel.
Yeah, that's a good picture.
Give me that picture. We're going to do this over lunch. He's like, here. What else you got?
All right.
Tell me what else you got. All right. I'm interviewing him now. I'm talking up.
All right. So here's another.
I know that.
Okay, so tell us about this. So was this a part of the music video, or what was it?
Part of the music video. That's the first time I met Ernie and Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd.
So how were these guys?
Harold Ramis. They were wonderful guys.
Yeah.
But what I thought is, I said, heck, this is a hell of a video. And can you spend any more money on it? We had all those people in it, right? So we had done all this stuff. This was like one of the last scenes. And they decided to block off Times Square on a Friday at 1 in the afternoon. I was like, could it cost any more money than Friday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? And so they blocked off Times Square, and we went doing that. I mean, I guess we could have done it somewhere else in New York, but they did it the biggest way possible.
Yeah. I was just in New York, and I went right by the like fire station thing that they used for the Ghostbusters.
So Bill Murray on here just started breakdancing. He thought that was cool. And so I started spinning him around. We just did it.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's an unbelievable moment.
Yeah.
If you had seen the crowd and, the whole thing, the record didn't come out yet. We're just doing the video.
How far was the distance between like when that song was finished and the movie came out?
A few weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. But this thing was trying to get done so they could put it on MTV and all that. And we got that thing done. Boom. Everything just started to go crazy.
Wow. All right. I think I got one last one for you, Ray. One last one. So this is a recent story that Steve Lukather told in an interview that Sunset has a YouTube channel they've been putting on. They've been doing interviews with people that have recorded at Sunset. So here's a story that Steve Lukather told about you. I want to get your recollection of the stories. So here it goes.
This is great, man. This is the 70s, like 77, 78 maybe. And Ray would drive in with this white Rolls Royce, man. You'd see the front end coming about 2 blocks before the passenger. You could see who was driving in the car. It was old school. And he was just talking about this recently. We were laughing about it. And I'd show up dressed like, a grunge guy in 77. You know what I mean? I ripped up jeans from there and Pendleton and the whole thing. Because who's taking my picture? No one. Anyway, Ray's like, come on, man. I'm going to go get something to eat. So, so he's got me he's dressed to the nines, man. Ray is always looking slick, man. And I love him to death. But, and I'm dressed up like, I'm like his like little white houseboy, Get my bags out of the trunk. Yes, Mr. Parker. Don't beat me, Mr. Parker. Oh, those are great days, man. I mean, because we were just all different kinds of people that liked each other a lot and made great music in any configuration you could put us in.
Yeah, so
see his attitude. That says it all. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when we see each other, it's that attitude.
Yeah, it's the band of brothers, man. It's forge in the fire at the studio.
Yeah, you've done all that stuff together.
Yeah. So you were so in sessions you would come dressed up.
No, he just teased.
He's just because you have the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, he just give me. But I never wore a suit and tie. Went around like this. But compared to what he's wearing, sometimes this was nice.
Right. Yeah, well, I think it's cool. It's kind of full circle. You talked about that bond that's created, and you can see, definitely in his voice, like you guys are brothers from the session.
Yeah,
living through the session.
You see, he's in my documentary as well.
Yeah,
Jay and all.
Yeah.
So we all came to L.A. He was already here.
Yeah,
I came from Detroit, but we all discovered each other like early on.
Yeah.
So, like I looked at the page the other day, I was saying, man, we've been friends for 50 years.
Yeah.
That's longer than I know,
yes.
people on the planet,
Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't know me from elementary school, he knows me better,
Yeah.
So we've known each other, and none of us have really separated. There's no 10 years where we didn't see each other.
Yeah.
So we've been hanging out and doing stuff for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's so cool. Well, Ray, again, thank you for allowing us into your home studio and talking with me.
Yeah.
And just thank you for just being, such a great piece of musical history and all this contribution that you've made. It is absolutely amazing.
Well, I feel so blessed just to be able to play my music and make a living. I think that for all the young musicians out there, nothing is better than if you don't have to have what your parents call a real job.
Yeah.
If you can make your real job playing music, you don't have to be rich, but you got to support yourself, obviously. Yes. But if you can support most of what you want to do playing music, there's nothing better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about as good as I think you can.
Yes. Yeah, that's awesome.
Then if you can get a little extra happening, of course, that ain't bad either.
Yeah, it's not bad either. Yeah. Well, Ray, to finish out, would you be willing to play a little signature funky piece for us just so we can fade the video out on?
Yeah, but what am I playing?
Anything that comes to mind that you're feeling in the moment, or it could be a song.
It's a little something.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect.